Welcome to Eternal Lost Archives, the vanished files of history. Here, we bring you true crime stories, chilling disappearances, and timeless mysteries that the world still can't explain. From famous cases like Amelia Earhart's final flight to haunting unsolved vanishings and dark secrets hidden in history, every story lives here. If you love unsolved mysteries, cold cases, and forgotten files, you're in the right place. Subscribe today and join us as we uncover the truth, one lost archive at a time. Dear viewers, imagine this. A woman who captured the imagination of an entire nation. A pioneer who dared to dream of circling the globe. She was admired, celebrated, and followed by millions. But on a quiet July morning in 1937, somewhere above the vast and empty Pacific Ocean, she vanished. No distress call that could save her. No wreckage ever recovered. Just silence. This is the story of Amelia Earhart, America's most beloved aviator, and the mystery that still haunts the world nearly a century later. Amelia Mary Earhart was born in Atchison, Kansas in 1897. From a young age, she stood out. Independent. Restless. Always drawn to challenges most women of her time were told to avoid. She climbed trees. She shot rats with a rifle. She kept a scrapbook of successful women in male-dominated fields. Even then, she was charting her own course. In 1920, Amelia paid $1 to ride in an airplane for the first time. The moment the wheels left the ground, she was hooked. Later, she said, "As soon as I left the ground, I knew I myself had to fly." 2 years later, she bought her first plane, a bright yellow Kinner Airs tour she called the Canary. By 1932, she had already secured her place in history. Amelia became the first woman to fly solo non-stop across the Atlantic. A feat so dangerous at the time that even experienced male pilots had perished attempting it. Newspapers hailed her as the Queen of the Air. She was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, the first woman ever to receive it. But Amelia wasn't satisfied with medals or headlines. She wanted to push the boundaries of flight itself. She believed women belonged not just in the home, but in the cockpit. And so, she began planning her greatest adventure yet, to become the first woman to fly around the world. But fate had other plans, and her boldest dream would become her greatest mystery. By 1937, Amelia was already a global celebrity. Her books were bestsellers. Her lectures filled auditoriums. And her marriage to publisher George Putnam kept her firmly in the public eye. But Amelia longed for more than fame. She longed for the horizon. Her aircraft of choice was the Lockheed Electra 10E, a twin-engine plane modified for long-distance flight. With her navigator, Fred Noonan, an expert in celestial navigation, she believed she could achieve what no woman before her had even attempted. Her route was ambitious, more than 29,000 miles, crossing 4 continents and the widest oceans on Earth. The journey began in Oakland, California. From there, Amelia and Fred flew across South America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. Thousands of miles fell behind them. By the summer of 1937, they had already completed 22,000 miles. Only one dangerous leg remained, the Pacific. Their next stop was Howland Island, a tiny speck of land only 2 miles long. To the untrained eye, it was nothing, a dot in the endless blue sea. But to Amelia, it was essential. A refueling point. A lifeline. On July 2, 1937, Amelia and Fred took off from New Guinea. The distance to Howland Island was over 2,500 miles, with nothing but ocean in between. They carried enough fuel for 20 hours of flight. Every calculation had to be perfect. One mistake, and they would be lost. And as the hours ticked by, those fears became all too real. The U.S. Coast Guard ship Itasca waited near Howland Island, its radio tuned to Amelia's frequency. The plan was simple: she would radio her position and then the ship would guide her in. No mayday. At first, Her voice came
No
through
signal.
faint but calm. No wreckage.
We are on course.
Just the sound of
But
static,
as time passed,
and then nothing at all.
her tone grew urgent.
The Itasca tried
She
desperately
reported
to
thick
respond,
clouds,
but Amelia never
poor
answered.
visibility.
Hours later,
Struggling
when she
to find
failed to
landmarks
arrive,
in an
panic
endless
set
ocean.
in. At
Amelia
7:42 a.m.,
the most famous
her voice
woman
cut through
pilot
the
in the
static,
world,
"We must
was
be on
gone,
you,"
and so
but
began
cannot
one of the
see
most
you.
extensive
Fuel
search
is running low.
operations in history.
Minutes
The search
later,
that would uncover
she sent
nothing,
one final
but spark
transmission.
endless
We
theories
are on
that
the line.
continue to this day.
157
The moment Amelia
to
failed to
337.
arrive, alarms were raised.
News spread rapidly across the Pacific. Amelia Earhart was missing. President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered an unprecedented rescue mission. It became the largest search operation ever conducted for a civilian at that time. 66 aircraft. 9 Navy ships. Thousands of men scouring more than 250,000 square miles of ocean. Day after day, they searched. The skies were combed. The seas scanned. Islands inspected. But no plane was sighted. No life raft. No wreckage. Not even a trace of oil on the waves. The official conclusion, reluctantly reached after weeks of searching, was devastating. Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan had likely run out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific. But for the public, and for those who loved her, that answer felt incomplete. How could the world's most famous aviator simply vanish without a single trace? And so the mystery deepened, and with it, came theories. Some wild. Some chilling. And some, just maybe, true. 1. The crash and sink theory. This is the official U.S. government stance. Amelia and Fred, unable to locate Howland Island, ran out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific. The Electra would have sunk quickly beneath the waves. The Pacific is vast, its depths unforgiving. Finding wreckage would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Most experts believe this is the simplest, and most likely, explanation. And yet, for many, it raises questions. Why no floating debris? Why no oil slick? Why no discovery in all these decades of searching? Another theory suggests Amelia never crashed at sea. Instead, she may have landed in the Marshall Islands, then under Japanese control. Witnesses later claimed they saw a white woman pilot in custody. Some reported Fred Noonan alongside her. In this version of events, Amelia was taken as a spy, interrogated, and perhaps executed. The theory gained traction during World War II, when anti-Japanese propaganda spread. But historians point out, no hard evidence has ever been found. Perhaps the most compelling alternate theory is tied to a tiny, remote island once called Gardner Island, now known as Nikomaroro. In 1940, British officers discovered human bones there, along with the remnants of a woman's shoe, a sextant case, and a campfire. For years, these bones were dismissed. But modern forensic analysis suggests they may have belonged to a woman of Amelia's build. Was Amelia Earhart stranded on Nikomaroro, surviving for days or even weeks, only to perish alone on an uninhabited shore? If true, it would mean she did not vanish into the sea, but into isolation. The wildest of all suggests Amelia was on a secret government spy mission. That her disappearance was staged. That she returned to the United States under a new identity. Some point to a woman named Irene Bolam, a New Jersey housewife who, in the 1970s, was accused of being Amelia in disguise. She denied it fiercely, even suing for defamation. DNA evidence later disproved the claim. But the idea of Amelia as a covert operative continues to appear in books and documentaries. Some believe aliens took her. Others that she slipped into another dimension in the Bermuda Triangle. While fascinating, these theories say more about our need for answers than about the truth itself. Decades after Amelia's disappearance, interest never faded. Expeditions returned to the Pacific again and again. Sonar scans of the ocean floor. Deep-sea robots combing the seabed. Teams landing on Nikomaroro, sifting through sand and coral for relics. In 2017, a blurry photograph surfaced that some claimed showed Amelia alive in the Marshall Islands. It briefly reignited hope, until experts proved it was a case of mistaken identity. Even so, organizations like the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, TIRE, continue the hunt. Some claim they've found pieces of Amelia's plane. Others say the ocean has swallowed her story forever. Billions of dollars and thousands of man-hours have been spent. But to this day, no definitive proof has emerged. And so, the ocean holds its secret still. A silence as deep as the water itself. Though her body was never found, Amelia Earhart's legacy did not vanish. She remains one of the greatest icons of the 20th century. A symbol of bravery. A trailblazer for women. A voice that said, adventure is worthwhile in itself. She showed the world that courage isn't found in success alone, but in daring to try what others fear. Her disappearance gave rise to mystery. But her life gave rise to hope. Dear viewers, perhaps Amelia never truly vanished. Perhaps she lives on in every woman who breaks a barrier, in every pilot who dares the horizon, in every dreamer who refuses to give up. But the question remains, did Amelia Earhart crash into the sea? Did she survive alone on a distant island? Or was the truth stranger than we will ever know? The Pacific whispers no answers. And so, Amelia's final flight remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Share your theories in the comments below. If you want us to continue bringing you the world's darkest unsolved mysteries, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you never miss the next case we uncover from the eternal lost archives.